Oh, yes, what a blessing. Live music. Thank you, Janet. Good morning and welcome. Bienvenido. My name is Lori Douglas, and I am your worship associate for this service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Charlotte County. We begin our service each week by singing an invitation to gather together, even as we are scattered in many different places, and whether our sacred space be virtual or live. This service is being broadcast live on YouTube, and will be available as a recording on the UUFCC YouTube channel after the service. And your patience will be appreciated, as there'll be a slight delay to make that happen afterwards. I'd like to remind you of a couple simple procedures that will help our broadcast and services to run smoothly. This would be a good time to put your phones in meditation mode. For those with us virtually, you may wish to have a chalice or a candle available for our chalice lighting ritual. For those in the sanctuary, we ask that you socially distance as appropriate and use masks in the sanctuary and when socialing outside unless medically unable to do so. I also wish to express my gratitude for those who make this service possible. Those supporting technology this morning, Corey and Tom back there, who spent 5-6 weeks working on the, or 5-6 hours this week working on the technology. To the Buildings and Grounds team, the Sanctuary team, Buildings and Grounds, Dennis is here. Sanctuary team, Laura, Don, and Cheryl, and all others who help with this, and Sue B, who is not here yet, and they all actually make this space a wonderful place to behold. To our membership committee and their team of greeters, yay. We also honor Jim B, who's not here, and Linda, who helped with the recorded music that you heard today, and especially the debut of our UUFCC Summer Choir. Yay! So you will need the teal hymnals today. We're going to be singing out of the teal hymnals, and if you don't have one, feel free to grab one. And note that when our summer choir comes up, we're going to be singing without masks because we're beyond the amount of feet that we need to be to keep people safe. And we're singing in our pods, so we're cool. And thanks also to Mary Jane and Sandy for their behind-the-scenes assistance, as usual. Whatever your faith or the country of your heritage, you are welcome here. Whoever you are, whomever you love, you are welcome here. And whether you entered on little feet or walked in briskly or ambled or rolled in, you are welcome here. Whether you are relatively new to our community or have been an active member for decades, you are welcome here. We're glad you chose this congregation as your place of worship today. If you are new here or returning from a long time away, please stand in body or spirit and give us your first names and where you're from so that we can welcome you. Anybody want to raise their hand if they're new here? Okay. All right. If you haven't already, please take this opportunity to meet with one of our membership team following the service. And there's a couple of you that are relatively new. Yes, Lynn in the back is raising her hand. There's a few others here. If you are new at home and would like to learn more about our fellowship, you can email maryjane@uufcc.org, or that's office@uufcc.org, or visit our website at the same place. And wherever you are, we're glad you've chosen to spend your morning with us. Today, our speakers are Oriol Perez Zelaya from the Alliance for Fair Food and Lupe Gonzalo, who are sitting in our front row. Hello. Welcome. Oriol is from the Alliance for Fair Food, and Lupe is a staff member and leader of the Coalition for Immokalee Workers. We will now open this sacred space by turning our attention to the chalice through words. Until all means all. This is by Erica Hewitt, who is the UUA's Minister of Worship Arts. The chalice, as a symbol of Unitarian Universalism, arose as a beacon of hope in an atmosphere of tyranny. The chalice arose as a sign of promise, that the marginalized would neither be forgotten nor ignored, because they are beloved and precious from the perspective of the holy. This morning, we remember all of the people who have been told explicitly or implicitly, through police violence or government policy, through derision or dehumanization, that they're anything less than whole, anything less than beloved. As we each light a chalice in our homes, and we light our chalice here, may we make our lives a beacon, a symbol of our promise, to draw the circle wide, a sign that we will not rest until all means all. Now, if I can ask Mary Lou to come up and light our chalice here in the sanctuary, and the rest of us can join in reciting our affirmation. Shortly there will be time to light your chalices at home. Our aspiration: love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our aspiration: to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and help, and to help one another. I invite you now at home, thank you, to light your home chalices or candles. We're now going to enjoy a prelude of music, which is not recorded, which is our debut of our UUFCC Summer Singers. Come on up, please, and I will join you. You're welcome to join us, and the page number is, or the hymn is 1012 in our blue hymnals.
You hold my hand.
Oh my goodness. Our opening words today, may I invite Betty Barriga, our chair of the Immigration Committee, to join me. Our words today are by Tanya Marquez. Reverend Tanya Yadira Marquez, ella is an ordained UU minister, spiritual director, and chaplain resident. Her ministry is influenced by her immigrant and fronteriza experiences. Tanya strongly believes in the healing power of words, community, and ritual. We now present witnesses of the world.
Testigos del mundo.
It is now when we are called as witnesses of the world.
Es ahora que estamos llamados a ser testigos del mundo.
To mend it, to change its course, to restore it.
A amendarlo, a cambiar su curso, a restaurarlo.
It is now when we are called to act on our values.
Es ahora que somos llamados a vivir nuestros valores.
Not to hide, not to fear, but to be bold and loud.
A no escondernos, a no temer, sino a protestar y reclamar.
It is now that we are called to continue our fight for justice.
Es ahora que somos llamados a continuar nuestra lucha por la justicia.
To organize, to speak up.
A organizarnos, a levantar las voces, es ahora.
It is now.
Es ahora.
Let us gather, let us give each other courage.
Unirnos, porque la unión hace la fuerza.
Let us worship.
Celebremos.
Thank you, Betty. We will now have some recorded music by the Foothills Unitarian Church called Fire of Commitment, which is also in your hymnals, and I don't remember the number, so we'll find it.
From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion need to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living brings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion need to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul
We have a long tradition at UUFCC of sharing our joys, concerns, and life milestones by entering them into the Book of Life. These messages can be read in the back of the sanctuary. These messages can be written in the red book in the back of the sanctuary. Who's got the red book today? Let's see. Lynn, would you bring up the red book, please? Thank you. Those at home are welcome to email your entries to bookoflife@uufcc.org. Messages should be sent no later than the Saturday prior to the service. All entries will be read by the worship associates, thank you, on Sunday morning. And after that, emailed messages will be entered into the actual red book, which is right here. And after a completed reading, we will enter into a moment of silence, followed by our hymn, Spirit of Life. Okay. So today, Lynn R. shares these words, supportive thoughts for my Aunt M as she begins to navigate end of life, quality of life, and options in medical care. Some others. We remember today Linda H. and Dennis, who are hopefully getting some relief from pain issues with new medical care. We remember all of those of us and at home and elsewhere who are suffering with back pain and all kinds of other pain, and give them strength and help. Laura A's son is getting married this weekend. She's off on the West Coast in the mountains somewhere. And we are looking forward to seeing a picture of Laura's wedding hat. She has a new hat for the wedding and 5 dog attendees at the event. So that'll be fun. All right. Maybe we hold these and our unspoken joys and sorrows in our hearts. But we also hold one another in love and tenderness so that this fellowship may be a source of strength and comfort, encourage and hope in the days and week ahead. Let us take our moment of silence now. I missed that. Please join me in Spirit of Life. I now welcome our speakers today, Uriel and Lupe. Lupe is a staff member and leader of the Coalition of Immokalee Workers, and Uriel is from the Alliance for Fair Food. The Coalition of Immokalee Workers is a migrant farmer-led community, a human rights organization focused on eliminating the human rights abuses faced by farm workers in the fields that feed us. They will talk about their work to bring human rights to the agricultural industry and what UUs have done in the past and what we can do now to continue supporting them. Please join us.
Hola, buenos días.
Hello, good morning.
Mi nombre es Lupe Gonzalo y soy parte de la coalición de trabajadores en Immokalee.
My name is Lupe Gonzalo, and I'm a farm worker staff member with the Coalition of Immokalee Workers, and my name is Uriel, and I'll be interpreting for Lupe today.
Pues como mencionó la compañera, pues somos una organización dirigida por los trabajadores que cosechamos diferentes frutas y vegetales dentro de la industria agrícola.
So, as was mentioned, the Coalition of Immokalee Workers is a human rights organization led by farm workers who pick and harvest many different fruits and vegetables that we all consume.
Y mayormente hemos enfocado dentro de la industria de tomate, porque muchos de los trabajadores que vivimos en Immokalee nos dedicamos a lo que es la pizca de tomate en la temporada.
But historically, the CIW has focused mostly on tomato workers. Most of the farm workers with the Coalition of Immokalee Workers have harvested and picked tomatoes.
Y siendo trabajadores del campo, nunca teníamos protecciones de derechos humanos, había mucho robo de salario, abuso verbal, abuso físico.
And as tomato workers, we often didn't have a voice or protections in the workplace. We faced things like wage theft, verbal abuse or physical abuse.
Como mujeres dentro de la industria agrícola también enfrentamos mucho lo que es el acoso sexual, y el acoso sexual para nosotras las mujeres se había convertido como el pan de cada día.
As farm worker women, many women working in the fields faced sexual violence in the workplace, so much so that sexual harassment, sexual violence was essentially the daily bread for a lot of women working in the fields.
Y en los casos más extremos, trabajadores que fueron enfrentados a lo que es labor forzada o también llamado como esclavitud moderna.
Yeah, and in some of the most extreme cases of abuse faced by farm workers, cases of forced labor, or what we call modern-day slavery in the fields.
Entonces, viendo todos estos abusos, un grupo de trabajadores empezó en Immokalee a organizar a más trabajadores, a defender nuestros derechos, a que no siguiéramos viviendo más explotación y que pudiéramos tener un sueldo más justo para nosotros.
So it's this context by which some farm workers began to organize themselves to see what could they do to make sure that farm workers weren't experiencing this kind of exploitation, for them to be able to work in agriculture with dignity and with respect.
Entonces, alrededor de los años 90, los trabajadores empezaron a organizarse en Immokalee haciendo diferentes acciones, paros laborales, marcha contra la violencia y huelgas de hambre.
Yeah, and so in the 90s, the CIW farm workers began to organize themselves and take action. Actions like work stoppages, hunger strikes, again, all with the purpose of addressing the conditions that farm workers were facing.
Teníamos la intención de llegar a acuerdos con los rancheros para que los rancheros vieran los problemas que los trabajadores enfrentábamos y también cómo ellos podían ayudar a mejorar esas condiciones.
Yeah, the goal and the intention of this action was to start a dialogue with farm owners, to make them aware about the conditions that farm workers were facing, but to work together to address and to change this reality.
Pero los rancheros no tuvieron una respuesta positiva, la intención de apoyar a los trabajadores, y por eso los trabajadores empezamos a buscar otras maneras de cómo traer el poder. Entonces enfocamos directamente a las grandes corporaciones.
Yeah, but farm owners unfortunately didn't have a positive response to this pressure. They weren't interested in sitting and having a dialogue with farm workers on how to address the conditions that these workers were facing. They were okay with keeping together the status quo. And so for that reason, the CIW had to shift and start finding different ways to bring about this necessary change. And the way that we started doing that was by pressuring corporations.
Entonces empezamos a llevar nuestras demandas a las grandes corporaciones, empezamos con Taco Bell, y las demandas que teníamos es que Taco Bell pagara 1 centavo más por cada libra de tomate que compraban, a que firmaran un código de conducta creado por los trabajadores agrícolas.
Yeah, and we started with demands for these corporations, seeing if perhaps they could use their power, the leverage that they have over the industry, to change the conditions which they purchased from in those farms. And we started with 3 demands. The first was for Taco Bell, which was the first corporation, to pay 1 penny more per pound of tomatoes that they purchased. That penny go directly to the farm workers. The second demand was for there to be a human rights code of conduct created by farm workers themselves. And the third demand was for workers to have a voice in the workplace.
Entonces, hemos tenido mucho apoyo de los consumidores, de estudiantes, de congregaciones, y esta es una de las congregaciones que ha apoyado mucho la lucha de los trabajadores, y juntos hemos traído a 14 corporaciones a firmar acuerdos con los trabajadores.
Yeah, and at this time, we received so much support from students, from people of faith, from congregations all across Southwest Florida, including this congregation, who have brought together people who have been willing to join their voices with the demands of farm workers and have been willing to take action to get these corporations to listen to these demands by farm workers. And today, since the inception of the Fair Food Program, or of the Campaign for Fair Food, rather, we've been able to successfully bring 14 of the biggest food corporations into agreements with CIW.
Entonces, ahorita hemos creado lo que es el programa de comida justa. Desde el 2011 empezamos a implementar este programa. Eso significa que estamos yendo a los ranchos para hablar con los trabajadores, y por primera vez, trabajadores ahora sabemos nuestros derechos, cómo protegernos cuando hay un abuso pasando.
Yeah, as a result of bringing these corporations on board, in 2015 we started the Fair Food Program, which is the embodiment of these demands and actually implementing them in the fields. As part of this Fair Food Program, we go to the fields and educate fellow farm workers about the rights that they're entitled to and what mechanisms are in place to protect themselves from any abuse.
Por primera vez, las mujeres trabajamos libre del acoso sexual. Ningún supervisor, contratista o compañero de trabajo tiene derecho a acosar a una mujer porque hay consecuencias que el abusador va a enfrentar.
Yeah, for the first time, farm worker women are working in the agriculture without fear of sexual harassment and sexual violence, because no crew leader, no supervisor who does this kind of action, there's going to be a consequence. And that consequence is not going to be for the farm worker, but for the perpetrator of that abuse.
Por primera vez, los trabajadores tenemos acceso a tener descansos. Se han construido sombras donde los trabajadores podemos descansar, especialmente en estos tiempos de calor. Uno, si se siente cansado, no tiene que desmayar en la labor. Uno puede tomar su descanso y después regresar a trabajar.
For the first time, farm workers have even basic access to shaded structures in the workplace, the opportunity to take a break. We know what it's like in the Florida sun to be working, and instead of continuing to work because you're being pressured to work, and run the risk of fainting or perhaps even having other health conditions, you can sit down and just take a break, and no one's going to, there's not going to be a consequence for you doing that.
Se ha creado una línea de quejas que está 24 horas del día, 7 días de las semanas, accesible en 3 idiomas principales, que es español, criol, inglés, pero también en otros idiomas indígenas, conociendo cómo está nuestra comunidad.
Yeah, we've been able to create a 24/7 hotline run by a third-party organization. I'm adding that. This hotline answers calls 24/7 in 3 main languages: Spanish, English, and Haitian Creole, but even some indigenous languages, since a lot of the farm worker community in Immokalee speak indigenous languages as well.
Y también el Consejo por Comida Justa va directamente a los ranchos para hablar con los trabajadores, a saber cómo están las condiciones. El trabajador puede hablar con el consejo sin temor a ser despedidos o sin que tomen represalias.
Yeah, and this third-party monitoring system, the Fair Food Standards Council, has access to go and speak directly with the farms, to interview farm workers, access to books to be able to audit, to ensure that all of these protections are actually reaching the farm workers that it's intended to. And again, farm workers have the right to be able to speak to the Fair Food Standards Council without fear of any retaliation.
Y pues el programa está expandiendo a otros estados donde los trabajadores van cuando la temporada termina en Florida, y está expandiendo a otros productos. Entonces es algo que sigue creciendo, ¿verdad? El programa sigue creciendo, pero a la vez nosotros seguimos luchando para que otras corporaciones se unen a este programa.
Yeah, and since the inception of the Fair Food Program, we started with tomato farm workers in the tomato industry. We've expanded to other industries, and I'm adding this: green pepper, strawberry, the cut flowers industry. We've expanded also to other states up the East Coast. So this Fair Food Program is expanding and bringing about more and more protections to more and more farm workers. But unfortunately, at the same time, our work continues because we need to expand the scope of this Fair Food Program to bring more corporations on board, to demand that corporations not buy from farms where human rights abuses are happening.
Y pues la razón que queremos que este programa sigue expandiendo es porque fuera de las protecciones del programa de comida justa, hay miles de trabajadores que siguen enfrentando las injusticias, la explotación y los abusos.
Yeah, and the main reason for wanting to expand this Fair Food Program is the same reason it's been before. Thousands of farm workers continue to face injustices and exploitation when working in the agricultural industry.
Recientemente el caso más grande que la coalición ha ayudado es un caso de esclavitud en Georgia con trabajadores en la cebolla que son trabajadores que vinieron con la visa H2A.
Yeah, recently, as recent as last year, CIW helped investigate a modern-day slavery case stemming out of the state of Georgia, mostly involving farm workers who came here through the H-2A visa program.
Eran 71,000 trabajadores que estaban viviendo estas condiciones. Se lograron hacer 24 arrestos a patrones, y estos patrones habían hecho ganancias de $2 millones por tener trabajadores en labor forzada.
Yeah, this operation, this modern-day slavery operation, which, and I'm adding this, has been the biggest modern-day slavery operation in U.S. history, involved a network of involved over 71,000 farm workers over a period of 5 years. This indictments brought about 24 counts, about 24 arrests of individuals exploiting these farm workers. This operation profited over $200 million, and again, off the backs of these farm workers whose work they were forcing.
54 cargos que han recibido, entre ellos en los cargos dice que 2 trabajadores murieron a consecuencias del calor extremo y mujeres que fueron víctimas de violencia sexual.
Yeah, among these charges that were brought to these 24 arrests, among some of these charges were 2 deaths of farm workers who lost their lives because they were being forced to work in extreme hot weather conditions due to heat stress. And there were even cases of farm worker women being sexually assaulted in the workplace.
Entonces, esto es algo que sigue pasando dentro de la industria agrícola. Esto es algo real que los trabajadores siguen enfrentando. Por eso, para nosotros expandir este programa que ha sido comprobado en los Estados Unidos que es el único programa que protege realmente los derechos de los trabajadores.
Yeah, and so for this reason, that's why we're here. to work to continue to expand the Fair Food Program, a proven solution to eliminating these types of abuses, because it's no longer okay for our agricultural industry to have these cases of forced labor or sexual violence in the fields.
Más y más trabajadores vienen con esta visa, pero tener una visa no es garantía de tener protecciones de derechos humanos. Por eso continuamos nuestra campaña y voy a dejar a Uriel que hable un poquito más sobre eso.
Yeah, and more farm work or the farm labor workforce is coming through this H-2A visa program, but just because you come through a visa doesn't mean that you have protections. And so Lupe is going to give me a little bit more space to speak a little bit more about our current campaign. As many of you know, and I think some of you may have taken action, the latest corporation that we've been pressuring to join the Fair Food Program has been the Wendy's Corporation. Of the top 5 fast food corporations, they're the only one that has refused to participate in this Fair Food Program. For close to 8 years, we've been pressuring them. They actually used to purchase from farms participating in the Fair Food Program, but when we asked them to join the program, to sign a legally binding agreement, they decided to shift their purchasing to Mexico. While in Mexico, an LA Times expose showed that in some of the farms, a farm called Bioparques de Occidente, that was one of the main providers to Wendy's, they had children as young as 6 and 7 years old picking 32-pound buckets of tomatoes in forced labor conditions. So in other words, Wendy's goes from a place, an industry that is trying to do right by farm workers and protect farm workers and acknowledge a history of exploitation by doing right, and they go to the exact antithesis of that, to a place where this is commonplace and exploitation is the norm and the status quo. And so for that reason, we continue to invite congregations like you to not only become educated, like you're doing today, about the work of CIW, but to take action as well. And that action can take the form of many different ways. First, it can be, again, by actually going and protesting at a local Wendy's, joining CIW whenever we're protesting here around you, signing petitions, coming down to Immokalee to visit us, to see our community firsthand. And so, again, we know that this is already a congregation that has done that, so it's a matter of continuing that history of support for the farm worker struggle. And so, with that, no sé, Lupe, si hay algo más.
Sí, pues afuera tenemos una mesa de información para que pueden saber más de la coalición, y vamos a estar después del servicio. Si tienen preguntas, podemos platicar ahí.
Yeah, and so we have a little table outside with some information and some stickers, some buttons, and if you have any other questions, we'd love to speak with you and answer any questions. We'll be sticking around after service to speak. So, and again, thank you so much for the opportunity to give us the space to talk about our work. Thank you.
Thank you so much to both of you for your dedication and bravery and continuing in this struggle. Yeah. Oh, what an example for us to sit here in our air conditioning and send our positive energy there and our continued work too. And hopefully we can get our bravery going too, huh? And our determination. Yeah. In our tradition, congregations exist because of the generous support of members and friends. It is our privilege and our responsibility to ensure the health and future of this fellowship. To this end, your offerings support the ministry of this fellowship, whether by pledge or donation, and may be offered online. There are several ways you can give. You can drop your donation in the baskets that are being passed along by the greeters here. And for those at home, you can mail checks to the office, drop them in our mailbox, or call the office to make other arrangements. We're also equipped to accept donations on your phone through Venmo app. This app should be used by using UUFCC offering. Today is a special day. It is our second Sunday of the month when we have our second helping offering. The second collection, when they come around this next time, will be given to a worthy cause selected by the Social Justice Committee. Today, we're happy to have this helping go to the Alliance for Fair Food. Yay! So nice to know we can support you right now. Yay. Your generosity is always appreciated. If you are with us for the first time, don't feel obligated to give. Your presence is our gift. In a minute, we will have a recorded song, but we'll wait for our second helping. For those of you with questions and all kinds of things for our speakers, we will be going out to lunch later if you want to join us at the chefs over here. And if finances are an issue, there's a fund for that too. So anybody's welcome to join us for lunch afterwards. Okay, the song that we're going to be singing is When the Spirit Says Do. And this is by members of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Roanoke. And you're welcome to sing and move around with us. And this is the spirit of us getting, yes, with your mask on, saying thank you, yes. And this is in the spirit of getting ready to do for the workers and others in Immokalee and everywhere else. Okay. When the Spirit says do. Corey? My goodness. Okay, now it's time to highlight the UUFCC special events and activities. Please remember to check your weekly UUFCC updates, which includes a calendar and links for connecting via Zoom or in person. It's got descriptions of all kinds of fun things to do. And make sure you visit regularly our website. Laura, can you raise your hand? Laura's one of our website workers. Yay! Her and Laura Anderson out west are doing a great job of that and continuing to have that happen. Additionally, if you'd like to have your fellowship events highlighted during the service, you can email us, the worship associates, at bookoflife@uufcc.org. Today I have the following announcements. As soon as I get all my papers in order here, I'll show you my announcements. Tell you the announcements. Here we go. Okay. Got a special one by Q today. Q, can you raise your hand? There we go. Okay. Q is starting back up a discussion group for those who are interested before the service at 9:30 in the morning, back out there on the patio or the social hall, depending where the climate is better. It's not a therapy group or anything like that. It's just a discussion group with various ideas.
You can do your own theology.
Do your own theology. All right. Some of the examples of things in the past were spiritual metaphors, measuring spiritual development, how much love is enough, How do I know who I am? All kinds of things. So different discussion ideas. It starts next week, an hour before the service at 9:30, right here. Thank you for that cue. Other announcements. Our newly forming PFLAG group, we're doing another interest meeting again Sunday, July 24th in the fellowship hall in the back. Any and all are welcome to come. PFLAG is for parents and friends and allies of lesbian, gay, LGBTQ plus folks. Hey, and a few more here. A sheet. There we go. Oh, that's not it. I have too many sheets of paper up here, can you tell? And my bifocals have been fighting me this morning, too. Here we go, got it, okay. After the service today is also social justice meeting, and it will be in the social hall? Right, okay. And that will be live and hybrid, I think. In addition, you know about our lunch, told you about the chef's lunch, which is right around the corner here, just as you go out and turn right into, if you're facing Walmart, it's against that little strip mall there. Saturday, July 16th from 3 to 5 p.m., meet the Airport Authority District 2 candidates. It's sponsored by the League of Women Voters. It's going to be right here at UUFCC, next Saturday, July 16th. Now, as you probably have all seen, I hope you've seen, the brand new newsletter is available on our website. Thank you to our newsletter editors, who one is here, right here, Herb, one of our editors, and raise your hand. Mary Lou, there she is, not raising her, there we go, little hand, okay, there we go. And Stephanie's, who's off on the East Coast, okay, and they're doing a great job already. Send entries to Herb, all are welcome to contribute. About a week before the end of the month, make sure your stuff gets in, it'll get in the following month, should the editors go for that, yes. Okay, and we have a caring committee survey. If you haven't already, please take advantage of this. Be a part of our fellowship and our caring and for each other. You can do so much if we all do a little bit apiece. If I go visit Peggy Dawn in the hospital and Don makes food for her and Corey brings it over and delivers it in his truck and Ellen calls to check up on it, and Gudrun picks it up and finds out what happens next. What are we going to? Oh, Gudrun goes to a doctor's appointment with Susie to take notes, and her eye doctor, and then after that, who is it in the back? Oh, Ted walks the dog for Laura when she goes to help Karen in the back. Go take Norma to the emergency room. See how this works? Okay? So we each have a little bitty piece of this. It takes a village to care for our village, and it feels great to be part of the action. Thank you. Finally, we have the closing words, which you will see on the, can you see them now? I can't tell. On the screen? Okay. Please, what? No? Can you make them a little bit bigger, Corey? All right, good, thank you. Our responsive closing is by Reverend Alice Farnham, who is the director of the UU Prison Ministry in the state of Illinois. I will read, and please follow it with all. Blessed are the change makers for faith in the face of apathy. Blessed are the change makers who make impression. Blessed are the change makers for powerful courage and boldness. Blessed are the change makers for Blessed are the change makers knowing risk and sometimes failure. Blessed are the change makers for trying again and again in love. Blessed are the change makers, for they are among you. Blessed are the change makers, for you are among them. Blessed are the change makers. Rejoice and be glad. Amen. Now we extinguish this chalice. If you would help, Mary Lou, thank you. But not the light of hope, the fire of commitment, or the warmth of community. As you leave, those who need a smooth surface and may exit out the building in the back, and you can also exit out here. But I actually encourage people to take their time, exit out the back, and look at the material that the coalition has and the Alliance for Farm Workers back there, and then we can make our way outside to the patio for coffee and goodies and so forth. And don't forget the social justice meeting and our lunch after that. Okay. What else? That's it. We'll now end with our summer seniors. Come on up. Go Lift It Up, number 1057 in the teal hymnal. Now, if any of you would like to join the summer singers, you don't have to have tons of experience. Just come on and join us next Wednesday at 6:30.